So the big news is that a Pfizer executive got caught saying stuff on a hidden camera. The other part of this story is that a lot of people are going to try to ignore this because they don't like the guy holding the camera. It's Project Veritas. And people say, oh, you can't trust them, as if you can trust anybody else in the news business. Really? You can trust at New York Times? You could trust MSNBC and CNN, who've been spreading completely falsehoods at the top of their lungs.
He's got a better hit rate than all of them.
I'm going to say Project Veritas has a better hit rate than MSNBC.
Every single non-reliable source has a better accuracy
that's right.
rate.
Including Alex Jones.
Yeah.
Including Alex Jones is way more accurate than Rachel Maddow. Way more, especially when it comes to Russiagate.
The New York Times is one of the most
unbelievably
you remember Orson Welles,
unfactual pieces of publication. The New York Times.
Yeah. I just found out this one, but you remember the War of the Worlds broadcast? Everybody panicked.
Yes, turns out that wasn't true.
Never happened. New York Times
did not happen.
Yeah.
So let's not get off. So here we are. So Project Veritas got this guy who is head of research and development. He's an executive in research and development at Pfizer. Now, he has a medical degree, and he's like one hop away from the head of Pfizer. So like he reports to a guy who then reports directly to the head of Pfizer. So he submits a report, then one more report goes to that guy. So now let's just watch this, because this confirms everything you ever thought about Pfizer and COVID and the way they operate. And the government too, by the way. He's gonna let the cat out of the bag.
Pfizer ultimately is thinking about mutating COVID?
Well, that's not what we say to the public. No, don't tell anyone to tell you. Public don't tell you. Public don't tell you.
So they're doing that gain of function research, and they're lying to the public about it, just like Fauci lied to Congress and said he didn't fund gain of function, and then the NIH said, no, we did. You did. But then Fauci never got prosecuted for lying to Congress about funding gain of function, because he lied at the behest of the people who own the government. So there's never a price to pay when you lie in favor of the establishment. You can lie to Congress. Okay, here we go.
Like, now, you know how the virus keeps mutating?
Yeah.
Well, one of the things we're exploring is, like, why don't we just mutate it ourselves so we can focus on, we can create unbelievably well-do vaccines, right? So we have to do that. If we're going to do that, though, there's a risk of, like, as you can imagine, no one wants to be having a pharma company mutating viruses.
What's wrong with having China do it for us?
So he's saying, well, first of all, he's admitting there that the virus keeps mutating.
Yeah.
And so our vaccines can't keep up with it. So this is a failed experiment of trying to keep up with the mutations. That's what he's saying. I'm not saying that. So then he says, so why don't we just go ahead and mutate the goddamn virus on our own, so we already have a vaccine in the chamber waiting for it. And
We're
then
exploring it. We're just exploring.
You're just exploring. And then he's saying, but could you imagine? No one wants to be having a pharma company making mutating effing viruses.
Yeah.
You're correct.
So we're exploring how to do it without you knowing.
Without you knowing.
Until it comes out. Until it leaks out.
Be like very controlled to make sure that this virus that you mutate.
You have to be like very controlled to make sure that this virus that you mutate doesn't create something like.
It doesn't create something like, cells everywhere.
Something crazy.
It's the way that the virus started in Wuhan. To be honest, like it's.
Because, which I suspect is the way that the virus started in Wuhan, to be honest. Like, it makes no sense that this virus popped up out of nowhere. This is the guy who's head of research and development at Pfizer, as far as we can tell, by the way, because people have been trying to verify this guy. We have some verification that he is the research and development guy at Pfizer. The interesting thing is Pfizer will not confirm nor deny if this guy works there. Pfizer, journalists have been calling Pfizer for 24 hours and no response. So as of this airing, Pfizer, as far as we can tell, has not responded, and people have been asking. So again, suspect.
Wait,
what do you want to say?
He's talking about how, because like you don't want to have a virus like mutate, and then like. That's really reassuring that you got a guy that throws into
every sentence.
Evolutionary. What do you call it? Evolutionary.
So he said we don't call it gain of function. We call it evolutionary direction. What did he say it was? But that's why Fauci could lie to Congress, because we're not calling it gain of function. We call it evolutionary direction or whatever.
Which, by the way, I think is a different thing. But I also don't want to be done.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't really matter if it's getting funded. Sounds like an equally bad thing, even if it's totally different.
There's no sense of desires to pop out of nowhere. Like,
Yeah, I know.
Meet Jordan Tristan Walker, a director of research and development strategic operations and mRNA scientific planning at Pfizer.
It sounds like gain of function to me.
I don't know, it's a little bit different. I think it's different. It's like this. It's definitely not gain of function.
It sounds like it is. I mean, it's okay.
No, directed evolution is very different.
Directed evolution.
It sounds like you should be screwing with that.
Directed evolution. It sounds like, hey, are you torturing that guy? No, we're using enhanced interrogation techniques.
I hate corporate people so much.
That's what that
I hate
is.
their corporate words, and I hate their stupid, like, blase. Oh, I mean, we're going to just do it, but, like, people don't want us to, so we're, like, exploring it.
Directed evolution.
If you gain function research of the viruses, like they recommend not. Like you do like these like selected structural mutations to try to see.
So he says, but we do these selected structure mutations to try to see if we can make them more potent. So they're doing gain of function research to try to make the virus more deadly. That's what potent means. More deadly. Yeah.
more potent.
Yeah.
So there is research ongoing about that. I don't know how that's going to work.
So there is research going on about that. I don't know how that's going to work. This is the guy with a medical degree who works at Pfizer and research and development.
I don't know how it's going to work because I blab about it to every guy I flirt with.
There not being more outbreaks because, like, Jesus Christ.
The gentleman seems to have absolutely no moral compass at all.
All government officials. It's pretty good for the industry, to be honest.
So let me play this part to you again. It's he said there's a revolving door in the industry. It's a revolving door for all government officials, meaning you go to work at the FDA and you're the chairman of the FDA. You quit the FDA, you immediately go to work at Pfizer's board and get millions of dollars. So you see what because that just happened with Scott Gottlieb. The guy was the head of the FDA. He took 2-month vacation, and then he immediately went and got on the board at Pfizer. So that's what he's referring to. Like, it's a dude, we run the government.
Isn't it amazing there's rules that companies have, like these non-compete contracts where you can't go work at another thing related for years.
But you can
but you can go to the regulators.
Yes.
Like,
okay. So he's admitting that what we've been talking about here, it's called corporate capture, regulatory capture. So the agency that's supposed to be regulating Pfizer and Big Pharma, they go to the guy who's supposed to be regulating them, Scott Gottlieb, and say, we're going to give you a bunch of millions of dollars whenever you want when you leave Pfizer, when you leave the FDA. Wink, wink. And so he goes, okay, everything you want approved, I approve. I lie to media because I've got a couple of $1 million coming to me as soon as I quit this. And that's how it works. And he's admitting it. That's what that means. It's a revolving door for all government officials.
But maybe it's taken out of context.
Yeah, that's what people are saying.
I know. It's bad for the American people, but good for us. What context would make that better?
Would make that okay. Okay, so here we go. It's pretty good for the industry, to be honest. It's bad for everyone else in America. Showing exactly what Dr. Malone just said. This guy has no moral compass, nor does anybody who works at Pfizer. That's why they work there. It's not a fluke.
You know, the ultimate,
same thing with journalism. It's not a fluke that these people are willing tools of the people who pay them. Go ahead, Kurt.
You know, the ultimate bad influence when I talk about like Russian influence or I don't know, satanic money.
Money.
The
number one
damaging influence to everyone of every age is the money, because that's some real top of the line. Like, he could be on The View with that kind of blasé attitude.
Watch this.
To be honest.
Yeah.
It's bad for everyone else in America.
Why is it bad for everybody else?
Because if the regulators have
Why is it bad for everybody else in America? Because if the regulators who review our drugs, you know that once they stop being a regulator, they want to go work for the company. They're not going to be as harsh on the company when they're getting their job.
Oh, like how the FBI didn't prosecute that guy molesting the girls in the Olympic team because they were getting jobs with the Olympics. Is
that what happened? Is that why?
Larry Nassar. No charges brought against those brave FBI agents. Yeah.
This is the quality of individuals within Pfizer that are making these huge decisions that risk global public health. It's profoundly corrupt.
what is Pfizer doing, I guess, to optimize, the vaccines now?
Oh, we actually had a meeting about that today, so there's a lot.
Really?
They're doing, I don't know if I should say this.
Our undercover journalist asked Walker how Pfizer is handling the fact that their COVID vaccines are ineffective against virus variants. What he said is disturbing. Listen to this.
We're exploring, like, now, the virus keeps mutating?
Yeah.
Well, one of the things we're exploring is, like, why don't we just mutate ourselves so we can create unduplicatable develop new vaccines, right? So we have to do that. If we're going to do that, though, there's a risk of, like, as you can imagine, no one wants to be having a pharma company mutating viruses.
Yeah.
So we're like, do we want to do this? So that's, like, one of the things we're considering.
Okay.
Like, the future, like, maybe we can, like, create new versions of the vaccines and things like that.
Okay, so Pfizer ultimately is thinking about mutating COVID?
Well, that's not what we say to the public. We know. But that's why it was a thought that came up in a meeting, and we were like, why do we know? It was like, we're going to consider that. More discussions.
Okay.
That exact reaction, right? We're like, wait a minute, like, people won't like that.
That's right. It appears that Pfizer is internally discussing the possibility of mutating the COVID virus themselves in order to tailor a vaccine to sell to the public. Listen to Walker describe in detail just how they would conduct such a scientific experiment. First, in living animals.
So the way that we're thinking about it, don't tell anyone this. You probably don't tell anyone. Okay, right? So the way it would work is, like, we put them in the virus in these monkeys,
Okay.
and then we successively, like, cause them to keep infecting each other. And we collect serial samples from them, and then the ones that are more infectious, like the virus, we'll put them in another monkey and just constantly actively mutate it. That's one way. Or we can do, like, directed, like, simulation, which, like, we tend not to prefer, and then you just sample what the different proteins on the surface of the virus look like over time. Okay. So then you can see the mutation, and you can kind of force it to mutate in a certain way you want. Okay. But you have to be, like, very controlled to make sure that this virus that you mutate doesn't create something like, it goes everywhere.
Something crazy.
It's the way that the virus started in Wuhan. To be honest, like, it makes no sense that this virus popped out of nowhere. Like,
Yeah, I know.
COVID virus experimentation on live monkeys? This is unethical, to say the least, and Walker describes those experiments as if they are ongoing and not simply a hypothetical discussion.
So, when is Pfizer going to implement the mutation of all these viruses?
I don't know. It depends on how the experiments work out, because this is like something that's dying, right?
It sounds like gain of function to me.
I don't know. It's a little bit different. I think it's different. It's like it's definitely not gain of function.
It sounds like it is. It's okay.
No. So directed evolution is very different.
Direct evolution?
Directed evolution.
Directed evolution, okay. Well, so, is that what it is?
Maybe. Well, you're not supposed to do gain of function research of the viruses. Like, they recommend not. But you do, like, these, like, selected directional mutations to try to see if you can make more potent.
Yeah.
So there is research ongoing about that. I don't know how that's going to work. There might not be any more outbreaks, because, like, Jesus Christ.
So, tell me more, like, what's developing with the whole, virus mutation process?
Well, they're still kind of conducting the experiments on it, but it seems like from what I've heard, they're kind of optimizing it, but it's going slow. They're very cautious. Like,
Right.
obviously don't want to kind of accelerate it too much.
Yeah.
But I think they're also just trying to do it as an exploratory thing, because you obviously don't want to advertise it. They're trying to figure out future mutations.
Okay, so did the whole virus mutation thing, like, come from your executive, Sarah?
No. That came from, like, we have, like, chief scientific officers in, like, the other divisions.
In a subsequent meeting, our undercover journalist asked if this type of gain of function research is already being studied at Pfizer. But no, as long as it's called directed evolution, Pfizer's in the clear.
What's the goal for Pfizer of doing that?
So part of what they want to do is, like, to try to figure out, to some extent, like, there's all these new strains of variants that just pop up. Why don't we try to, like, catch them before they pop up in nature, and we can develop a vaccine prophylactic for, like, new variants.
Yeah.
So that's why they're thinking, like, if we do it controlled in the lab, then we say, this is a new epitope. As a data thing, it comes out later on, like, in the public, we already have a vaccine kind of working.
Oh my god, that's perfect. Like, isn't that, like, the best business model, though? Like, just control nature before nature even happens itself, right?
Yeah, if it works.
What do you mean if it works?
Because, like, sometimes there were just mutations that pop up, right? We're not prepared for, like, with Delta or Omicron,
Right.
and things like that. So, who knows? I mean, either way, it's going to be a cash cow. COVID is probably a cash cow for us for a while going forward. Like,
Yeah.
Obviously.
So COVID is a cash cow. COVID is going to be a cash cow for a while for us going forward.
Anybody thinks the lizard, I don't know who actually thinks this, but that they made it to depopulate the earth. They don't have to think that way.
No, it's about
You go,
money.
We're going to keep making money off this thing.
Yes.
And if it happens to kill you, that's cool.
That's cool. I don't care.
Well, I think the whole, like, research of the viruses and mutating it, like, would be the ultimate, like, cash cow.
Yeah, it'd be perfect.
Now, you would
Yeah.
think that creating viruses to sell the vaccine would be illegal, but no. The pharmaceutical industry, as Walker puts it, is, quote, a revolving door for all government officials, unquote.
Revolving door for all government officials.
Wow.
Yeah, for any industry though. So, like, in the pharma industry, all the government officials who, like, review our drugs, once they come work for pharma companies. Like the military, like all their, like, army and defense, like, government officials, then go work for the defense company afterwards.
How do you feel about that?
So he's just explaining to this guy how Washington works.
This is way worse than the evolution of the virus,
Yes.
which we all know.
Which we all know.
Of course they would do. This is him out loud saying it while working there. That's like
So, and this is him saying, you know how it works in the defense industry. The generals go from the Pentagon, they go right into the working for the weapons manufacturers. It's the same thing with the drugs. And so he's explaining how Washington works and why, when I say people think our government is regular corrupt, and they don't understand that it's 100% corrupt, because this is how it works. And so there's no homeless lobby in Washington, D.C. So there's nobody waiting to get out of the homeless regulatory agency to go get some money that's why there's nothing ever happens with them, because there's no corruption that works that way, right? So our government only works by corruption. This is amazing that he's letting you know how Washington, D.C. works. Go ahead.
I like how people at the top are saying the same things that you've been saying. So
Yes.
there's just this wall of like stupid and coward
Yes.
in between you and then the real important people.
Yes.
Everybody in between is like, I just don't look at that.
Revolving Door, like,
It's pretty good for the industry, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's bad for everyone else in America.
why is it bad for everybody else?
Because if the regulators have to approve our drugs, know that once they stop being regulated, they want to work for the company, they're not going to be as hard for a company. We're doing their job.
Right.
We talked to Dr. Robert Malone, physician, scientist, and author, to get his take on the comments made by Jordan Walker.
You're gaining function. You're creating a new function in virus 1 by adding elements from virus 2, infecting one monkey and then another monkey. That's called serial passage. That appears to have been one of the technologies deployed in the Wuhan Institute of Virology with the humanized mouse strains that I believe were obtained from EcoHealth Alliance. That's an example of directed evolution. The gentleman seems to have absolutely no moral compass at all about what he's doing. The hubris and arrogance and immaturity. If this is the quality of individuals within Pfizer that are making these huge decisions that risk global public health with such a casual disregard for the human toll, it's profoundly corrupt in terms of, would it be feasible for Pfizer to circumvent international or national law? I think that is undeniable. And the gentleman in your investigative work has clearly indicated that Pfizer believes that it has successfully captured the regulatory apparatus of the United States government and presumably worldwide. Pfizer has completed regulatory capture, is quite proud of it.
So that's the big bombshell. Now, again, Kurt, you know, I don't care what this guy from Pfizer says. The vaccine is safe and effective, and it'll slow the
They should
transmission.
make a healthy profit after having.
They should get a healthy profit.
And they should be able to. You're the one who always wants them to reinvest in finding new treatments.
And I bet their heart should swell with pride over the great job they did on this vaccine.
4 sizes bigger.
4 sizes bigger, and her heart should swell, and they should be short of breath with the excitement of how well their vaccine worked. So. By the way, I tell you, the vaccine will slow the transmission and contraction of the virus. YouTube wants me to tell you that for sure. And it also keeps you from getting seriously ill, hospitalized, or death. So that's the beauty of this COVID vaccine. I don't know what the big deal
And the
is.
next one they're making for this new, that's going to be even better.
Wait for I can't wait for the next vaccine. I bet it's going to be even better. So everything that you thought was happening is happening. They're the people at Pfizer, people at Big Pharma are criminals of the highest nature. They're the most amoral, evil people in the world, and they only care about money. That's it. And you're an asshole if you question them. That's what I was told for almost 2 years, that they called me anti-vax for questioning this.
By the way, liberals who just got done watching the OxyContin documentary.
Can't get in line fast enough for their 5th booster. Did you see?
Yeah. Oh, are we doing Joe Scarborough today?
Yes, we're doing Joe Scarborough today.
That's sweet. I can't
But
wait.
even did you see Kathy Griffin's tweet today?
No, what?
She's got her 4th booster, and she was so happy that when you get your 4th booster, CVS gives you a couple of free tests. So that's how well the vaccine works. They want you to make sure you can tell when you get it, the virus.
Wow. You should play that Heather McDonald clip after each one of these people.
Thunk.
Jesus loves me.
Thunk.
Clunk.
Jesus loves me the best. Thunk.
Oh my God.
So, and no diss to Kathy Griffin. I always enjoy her comedy. I miss her on New Year's Rockin' Eve or whatever they call
She
that.
was great on that.
She was great on that.
Just not. Twitter is the downfall of a lot of people. That
Yeah. Hey, we're doing live stand-up comedy in Los Angeles, Tempe, Arizona, Palm Springs, Milwaukee, Minneapolis, Nashville, Northampton, Massachusetts, and a lot more places. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets and become a premium member while you're there. You get access to all of our stuff. See you then.